So learning to add vibrato and string bending into your guitar playing is a really great way to improve the sound of it. To me, there's nothing more off-putting than listening to a guitar player and every note is just super flat and there's never any vibrato, never any kind of articulation or anything nice like that. Just to give you an example, if I play some little licks and add no vibrato on the end notes of my phrases, to me, it just instantly sounds very amateur-y and just has zero character and zero feel, I guess. But if I add some vibrato to similar kind of licks, right, instantly just adds a whole nother dynamic to the playing. And vibrato is one of those things that it really gives guitar players their the personality, I guess, or just makes them very recognizable. So for example, one of my first guitar heroes was Zakk Wylde, and I remember seeing him play with Ozzy Osbourne on some TV show that I was watching when I was 13, and I was just blown away. And I didn't know at the time what was so impressive about his guitar playing, but in hindsight, it was his vibrato and string bending. It just was so aggressive and just had that classic like rock god kind of sound. But anything from Slash, super recognizable vibrato, Marty Friedman, B.B. King, Jimi Hendrix, obviously, it's just one of their trademarks, one of their signatures is having good vibrato and bending. And it's something that I feel often gets overlooked by guitar players. We always think we need to learn a new scale or new licks, but the articulation and the way you play notes is it's so much more important, in my opinion, in the long run. But anyway, so in this lesson, I'm just going to cover the technique a bit behind doing a vibrato, because it's not as easy as just shaking the string, and as well as that, explain what's actually happening when you vibrato a note. I'm not going to get into bending in this lesson, because bending is just an exaggerated version, or I guess exaggerated motion of vibrato, but to begin with, you have to get vibrato down before you move on to string bending. So first of all, what is vibrato? Oftentimes I'll ask a student, especially if they're more experienced, I'll ask, well, do you know what vibrato is? Do you know how to add vibrato to a note? And they'll normally say, yeah, I know how to do that. And they'll just play a note and just kind of shake it and not really put any thought into it. And this is because oftentimes people vibrato with their eyes, I feel. They just like see someone do vibrato on like a video, then they just go, oh yeah, I just shake the string, then they go, sweet, I can do vibrato. Really important you use your ears with this stuff, because it's all pitch based, and it's not like something people often ask is like, oh, how far do I move the string? And it's a terrible way to think of it, because it's not going to be universal from guitar to guitar. You just have to use your ear. Okay, I'm not going to be like, yes, you move the string 0.7 centimeters and that's vibrato. No, stupid. So first of all, let's actually understand what we're doing when we're adding vibrato to a note. So I actually drew up. I was going to bring my actual whiteboard up here, but I ended up just going online. Here it is, going online and drawing this, which in hindsight looks really terrible. But so what we're doing when we're adding vibrato to a note is we're pushing it up or down, which causes the string to tighten because we're adding more tension to it, which raises the pitch. Okay, now here's something that is very important. If we look at these graphs I've drawn up, so one axis is the pitch, the other is our established note that we're playing, or our played note. And the blue line represents what we're doing with vibrato. So what we want to do, say I play this 9th fret, is we go up a bit in pitch, then return back to the original note. Up a bit and back. Up a bit and back. Right, like this. Now, I just cannot stress how important it is that you return to the original pitch of the note. So on the second graph, I've got a version where I'm vibratoing up, but I'm not returning to the original pitch, and it sounds really shrill. Right, that's that classic terrible vibrato sound. So again, we want to push up, return back to the original pitch. Up, push, right? Okay, we don't want to stay too far up. Otherwise, it just sounds like a sharp note. Okay, so remember, we're just embellishing a note we've already established by adding vibrato. We want to make sure that that's our home base, and we like resort back to it. So how do we actually do this? So the technique. So this is again something that is I feel looked over. You look at most of your favorite guitarists that have a really good bending and vibrato, you'll notice they're doing it with their wrist as opposed to their fingers. Now, our natural inclination when we're doing vibrato and first learning it is just to push with our fingers. It's not, the problem with it is it's not a very strong leverage, and you won't have much control over it. See, what I do, and what like all my favorite guitarists do, is they clamp their fingers and thumb like this, and I'll show you how to do this, and they twist with their wrist, kind of like, I'll show you on this camera, it's kind of like you're opening a door handle. Okay, I'm twisting with my forearm as opposed to pushing with my fingers. Okay, so the way we do that, the way we actually do this, is, okay, let's say we're vibratoing the 12th fret on the B string. First, I like going for a handshake, essentially, with my guitar. Try to show that on the side. Right, so I have 2 points of contact. I have my thumb, and I have my, like the side of my knuckle of my first finger nearly. Okay, and I keep that there, and then I have my fingers going very sideways onto the note, which is the 12th fret on the B string. Right, so again, these points of contact are staying there, then my third finger on the 12th fret of the B string. Okay, now, this is something Paul Gilbert said in one of his lessons, I remember, and he said you want to think of it as one big finger. So I have all my fingers pushed up together. Okay, I don't just have my third finger on, I have all of them there. Because we can push with all of these fingers. Hey, just because these fingers back here aren't actually playing a note, we can use them to help push the string up. Okay, so once I have my fingers set, okay, so I've got all my fingers clumped together, not one finger per fret, they're all just shoved together. I play the note, and I twist my wrist. Okay, and what I'm doing is if I take my fingers off, I'm twisting like that. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Not sure if this is the best camera angle, but twisting like that. So I have my fingers on, and then I'm just bringing, I'll actually try to go this way. I'm bringing my hand up like that. Right, I'm not pushing with my fingers. You'll notice my fingers aren't flexing at all when I do this. Okay, they're rock solid. They're staying there. Again, thumb over, knuckle touching. And I'm just twisting with my wrist, my forearm. Should I show you again on this camera? Forearm's twisting like that. Okay, not pushing with my fingers like this. Okay, and this is going to feel super strange to begin with, but just don't try it for like 2 minutes and be like, oh nah, this sucks, next video. Okay, you got to stick with this stuff for like a good couple of weeks to get used to it. But it will just ultimately give you a lot more leverage. So again, let's just try another note. So let's go 9th fret on the B string. So again, going in for the handshake with my guitar. Okay, 3rd finger on the 9th fret, then all my other fingers behind it. Then I'm twisting with my wrist. Okay, not pushing with my fingers. Now you have to make sure that this is like a solid structure, your fingers and your thumb and whatnot, because otherwise when you push up, all that's going to happen is your fingers are going to bend and your wrist will move up, but the string won't move. So you got to make sure that you're applying a good amount of pressure so that when you twist your wrist, right, the string's going to actually move with your fingers. Okay, so that is the technique behind vibrato. Now, again, just stick with this. You're not going to get it straight away. So just mess around with that on a few different notes. No, I would stick to the B string and G actually to begin with, because they tend to be the easiest to bend because they have less string tension. Right, and just here's another common mistake. Don't let this part of your hand come off the guitar. A lot of people do this and then just go like that. No, keep that there. Right, and twisting with the wrist. Now just be sure when you're practicing this, alongside having the right technique, is that you're using your ears, right? We need to return to that original pitch like I explained before, but luckily you'll find the string naturally wants to go back there. So what we do when we vibrato is we push the string up, then we let off tension, up, let off tension, and the string naturally kind of goes back to where it wants to go. Now the trick is finding the sweet spot of enough tension that you keep the note playing while it goes back to its original spot, but not too much tension that you're kind of stuck, right? And you want to try this with all your other fingers. So the third finger is a good place to start because you'll have good leverage, but try it with just your middle finger. And again, if I'm using my middle finger, I'll have my first finger right behind it. Okay, but it's the exact same technique. Again, just twisting at that wrist. And with the first finger, exact same technique, right? Twisting at the wrist. Okay, not just pushing with my finger like that. Okay, you'll find with vibrato you might be able to get away with using your fingers. Well, you will be able to get away with it, but once you go into like string bending and stuff, it's just not going to translate very well. And I think overall you're just going to have a way better sounding vibrato if you get used to this wrist technique as opposed to fingers. I've never really seen a guitarist do finger vibrato and been like, that sounds mean, except for Dimebag Darrell. He's the one exception. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful, guys, and I'm going to make another video in terms of string bending and how to do that using similar techniques. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.